What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
Chris Abacon.
What's going on, everybody?
And Daniel Acevedo.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on? So, welcome to the Wednesday episode of the podcast. So, for those who are listening to it on other channels like the radio and things like that, you just get one long episode. So you're probably like, why does he keep telling us what day it is? and he's wrong. We go 4 to 5 times a week, 16 to 20 episodes a month. And yeah, hit us up on all the social medias. They go by our name and continue to check us out. So without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. This article is from darkreading.com, and it's written by Tara Seals. And the title of this one is Cybersecurity Job Market Stagnates, Dissatisfaction Abounds. All right. So ISC Square, they did a cybersecurity workforce study, and they said there's a tightening job market and dynamic cyber threat in this tightening job market and dynamic cyber threat environment. Ongoing staffing and skills shortages are putting organizations at serious risk. And then it asks the question that I'm like, oh, this is where it starts. If I haven't said it before, it's where it starts. Can AI move the needle, right, in defenders' favor, right? So my answer is no, it won't. There will always have to be a human element. You never know, right? Like, that's just how it is. But what they talk about here, the need for cybersecurity, I don't want to say it not being necessary. We know it's necessary. We do this every week. We tell you why it's necessary. We give you the examples of it. But I think what is going on is that there are companies that decide this is where they can cut the fat, the perceived fat, I should say, right? Because they think, when it comes to cybersecurity and IT, I don't necessarily have to pay these people the money I need to pay them and what they're demanding, and there's a reason for it, right? Because you're losing out. If you allow cybersecurity to take a backseat in your organization, you're going to pay for it eventually, right? You need to believe that, okay? It's proven time and time again. You know what I mean? And what they try to do is, even if they say, okay, I won't get rid of this whole department altogether, what they start doing is they start double and triple hatting people, right? Like, okay, not are you going to be, this bad, but you're also going to be, the cybersecurity person, which doesn't make sense, right? It's got conflict of interest in itself, right? Because that going to be easy. You're like, I could do this easily and just say, oh yeah, we're good. You know what I mean? That's why there's the separation of duties for that, because those two don't automatically go hand in hand with each other, right? Like, to do some good system administration when it comes to automation and things of that nature. I mean, it's a good way to do things, but it may not always be the safest, right? You may be using methods that introduce vulnerabilities into your networks, right? But they talk about the negligible increase, which is 0.1% increase from 2023 when it talks about year-over-year hiring, and that is very low. That's very dismal, right? And it's, as it states in the article, very negligible. So companies that are out there, believe me, cybersecurity is needed, right? One of the other things they kind of hit on in the article is maybe, the qualifications for some of the people, and they start to mention different figures about how some people in these organizations that are working cybersecurity may not be trained to the level that they need to be, right? Like, don't have the qualifications that they need, right? Which, as a company, if that is the case, do your best to get them up to speed to where they need to be. Okay, it's going to pay out for you for the amount of money you're going to pay to get them certifications or to get them the training, whatever. It is well worth it for what you can lose, whether it be what you're going to be paying out in your cybersecurity your IT insurance, your cybersecurity insurance, and things of that nature. You just got to be on top of this. But yeah, this is disheartening to see, right? Because we've talked about it all the time. The hundreds of thousands of jobs in this field that are available out there. But Daniel, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, as you're walking us through this article, I remember, I think it was about a month ago, we had another article that talked about this, about the cybersecurity job openings, or the rate of open positions in the 250,000 or something like that. It's rough, right? This article goes on and talks about the burnout cybersecurity in IT, which is a very real thing. It's disheartening, kind of sad, especially when they talk about percentage of raise or dissatisfaction in the job for a position that's very much necessary and critical. But unfortunately, working in cybersecurity, working in information security, it was middle management. Luckily, I had great bosses that understood this, but I saw it from other colleagues where they see it as a necessity and a checkbox, especially working with defense contracting or working with the government. We have to have this in place, but they don't see it as anything more than that. They don't see the added benefit of preventing ransomware or the saved money in, not having the secret sauce of their Big Mac being exposed and then their competitors stealing that and then, selling what's theirs. I don't know if there's a solution. I know I'm always like the doom and gloom guy of our group, but I don't know where there's a silver lining, except that there's a lot of interest from people wanting to get into the field. But I don't know if the larger corporations are steering towards just paying third-party companies to be their cybersecurity providers rather than hiring people in-house to do this anymore. So when we go to the 1% increase of the hiring from year to year, I'm wondering if that's the shift that we're seeing. The article doesn't say it, but people are still having cybersecurity departments and compliance, right, Chris? So if they're not hiring people, where's that coming from then? What do you think?
I mean, really, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the in-house versus outsourcing, right? You can either in-house hire a cybersecurity analyst, right, to get all of your policies, procedures in place from the governance standpoint, and then be an advocate for the technological improvements, which that I think can be expensive too. If you're talking, hey, let's put a XDR, EDR on each machine, you've got 100 machines at what, $8 a month? That's $8K a month for your business, right? Just consider, like, is $8K a month is that a lot of money for your business? I don't know. And again, that's just, a random example. It could be more expensive than that. Because if you're working with big organizations that have, hundreds of users, hundreds of laptops, right? It's not just one EDR solution you're paying for. You're potentially paying for like a zero trust solution. You're paying for a VPN capability. You're paying for Azure cloud users. You're paying for licenses, right? So it's a big investment. IT is a massive investment, and I understand that. I think we all understand that from our standpoint, right? With our experience. But to convince the COO, CFO that don't have the IT background, that are money, they are the money guys and gals. They look at, hey, how is this capital expense, operational expense worth it when it's not necessarily showing us any tangible, objective evidence. But the only thing that you can do is kind of say, hey, look, this is how much it would cost for your organization, if this were to happen. You can articulate it that way to a senior leader. But with respect to the workforce, right? I think there's I would say a few tiers in cybersecurity jobs, right? You've got the policy governance side, kind of where I work. You got the technical people that are the SOC analysts and stuff like that are on call, or they're working at a security operations center, shift work, right? And then you got somewhere the people that are in between, right? You got the people that are like, okay, we're just trying to figure stuff out. We're trying to incorporate cybersecurity into our business. And I think from a business standpoint, I don't think that's been really, there's not a lot of, there's cybersecurity master's degrees and all that stuff out there, but it's not as robust as, hey, we've got a finance department, we've got an accounting department, right? And I think that once the business operational end is understood by everybody in the organization and really in business as a whole, people can either make that decision, hey, are we going to outsource this, get an MSP, or are we going to build our own in-house department? And that's the thing too, and these MSPs have to be hiring, right? These SOC analysts, are they outsourcing these jobs? I mean, a lot of them are probably outsourced, right? They've got SOC analysts all over the world. So that's something to consider, unless a company wants to have a solely US-based MSSP, right? So there's all these factors that that cite these. But I think in our at the high level, I think it's it's the Fed trying to do, talking finance now, it's deflationary pressures. There's less money in the money supply, right? There's less money for investment. So really less money to invest and play with. So that's really where I stand on this. It's just there's less on there, and I think money crunchers that are saying, hey, look, maybe it's not worth the expense. We're not making any money right now.
So real quick, Ryan, I know you want to go, man. But so Daniel, to your point, right? So they address it in the article. So when I was talking about cut the fat, they address it in the article that it's budget that's making this happen, right? So I don't think it's accurate to say it's budget. It's a matter of priority, right? Like you have the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you say you don't have time for something, right? Like, man, I just don't have time for that. You'll make the time
Right.
for something that you want to do, right? It's the same thing here. When it comes to budget, you've chosen to allocate your money elsewhere, right? Is where it comes down to. But Ryan, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. It's a weird juxtaposition, right? Like this conversation is so nuanced. You can look at it from so many different perspectives.
Right.
So for me, when I look at it, if you're a billion or $1 trillion company, then you're kind of getting ready for the fallout. Like you're shrinking, you're cutting costs, you're getting rid of people and layoffs and things of that nature. You're not plussing up because you feel like bad times are coming. However, for the past couple of years, you've been also boasting record-making profits. So it's a weird juxtaposition that they're currently in, which I can't carry water for them, right? But if you're a mom and pop organization and you're also trying to weather the storm that you feel is incoming, then yes, this is cost center. You're not making any money off of this, and you want to not pay someone six figures to be in your organization to properly secure you. So then, of course, you look for, okay, how can I save money? How can I get a fractional CISO or some MSSP or something to help me to get at least good enough, so that way I don't have the regulation and violations and things of that nature, right? So now instead of paying somebody $350, $250, $150, maybe you get away with $85 an hour or something like that. Like you're trying to figure out like how can I get this done without dipping too far into the operational expenses. And then as a company like RAM now, right? I'm trying to expand, right? Like to be a consultant is a profit center, right? Like I'm looking to add value to a company. I'm trying to get my foot in the door, be their fractional CISO or whatever consultant, things of that nature. But you can't pay me bargain basement prices, right? Like I have a company also to run, and I can't offer you as much value if I have to now pick up 3, 4, 5, 6 different clients to make the money that I'm supposed to make to keep going. So I don't know what the tiebreaker is, to be honest with you. And in that situation, at the let's say the lower tier, right, the mom and pops, things of that nature, that's gonna all have to shake itself out. But these companies that are boasting record-making profits and are on the market at $1 trillion, $1 million, $1 billion caps, they have to stop squeezing like they're squeezing. I just don't think that that's rational or fair. Like for you to say, well, we have to shed 15% of our workforce in order to weather a storm that may never come. Like it just seems as though you're saying the sky is falling and it's not. Right, you're crying wolf too much. And I think that's going to catch up to them. It's going to be a humongous either breach, leak, or fines for compliance. They're going to get slammed at some point because they're going to get breached. You simply cannot triple, quadruple hat people and expect to get the same value out of them, or just leave a gap and just say like we're gambling because someone's going to hit the jackpot. It's going to be in a bad way. So I think that they need to start to figure it out. And then that'll trickle down to everybody else. But as long as your humongous companies keep doing what they're doing with the shedding of the workforce, it's just bad for all of us. And that's just my opinion, right? Obviously, I'm very small business. So I think they call it a solopreneur or whatever. It's just me, one man army, right? And I'm working with the mom and pops, so I'm not working with the $1 billion and $1 trillion companies. But that's just my perspective. But it's just, I feel as though that they're setting the table, making the rules, and then we're all getting scraps because of it. I could be wrong, right? I haven't been in this side of the business for very long, but that's just the way it feels. Because as long as they keep squeezing down on us, then the rest of us are basically gambling right now. So, we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, I didn't like this article. But it was very well written, and it's just that it's doom and gloom right now. Like, when are we going to flip the switch? Like, maybe it's after election day, but maybe not. Like, maybe for the next Like maybe this is their excuse to continue to squeeze, make record-making profits. And then, like, if you keep saying something bad is going to happen, sooner or later you're going to be right. But it might not be in the next 2 to 4 years. It might be in the 8 to 12, right? Because we don't know what the future holds. So I just feel as though it's putting us all at a disadvantage. But that's just my 2 cents. Anybody, any follow-ups before I land this plane?
I'm snapping.
My personal opinion, right? That's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. But continue to tune in, please. Unless you're in one of those billion or trillion dollar companies, you tune me out. I'm sorry. Come back. Hit us up by our website to go by our name, the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or ask a CISSP. Hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on pretty much all the platforms, but LinkedIn is my most active. And where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Chris Abacon. Last name spelled A. Bacon.
And you, Daniel?
Under LinkedIn, under my name, Daniel Acevedo.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.